So the organization running this is called Candid Hope. We are based in Nairobi, and we are faith-based. So everything that we do is from biblical perspective. And our vision is to see transforming communities. So we believe that when we equip children, wherever they are, and when we equip the parents and caregivers in the right way, and they take up their role, children taking up the role that they're supposed to play in the society, especially at home, in school, and in every spaces, and parents taking up their roles of parenting intentionally, then we are able to realize this transforming community. And our approach is to design programs, develop content, and experientially facilitate sessions that are participant-centered. So that's what we do. And we have a few pillars here. So we have the youth pillar that focuses on raising leaders through mentorship and capacity building. Then we have the family pillar, and we have a community engagement pillar and advocacy. On the youth pillar, we have Next Gen Boys, a program for boys, a mentorship program for 7 to 17 years old. Then in Ara Girls, also for 7 to 17-year-old girls, and Ujana Forum. That is for the young adults, especially those in the college setup. So we do a lot in the colleges and university, just working with the young ladies and young men to ensure that they are well. One of these days, we'll talk about mental health, and we'll be able to share our experience on mental health issues with this category of the young adults. Then on family, that is what we are doing. And in the past, we have done webinars on co-parenting, single parenting, dysfunctional families, blended families. And here we are on child online wellness, and the journey continues. And we have facilitated sessions, father-son bonding, father-daughter, mother-son, mother-daughter. And we have also done this in schools where we facilitate parent-child bonding sessions in schools. Community engagement, our big focus is on pro-life. We believe that life begins from conception to natural death. So anything that is a threat to life in between, we engage it so that we teach values to our young people. Then, of course, mental health issues, which comes under advocacy, and other things like drugs and substance abuse. We have worked in so many places, which I will not be able to mention, but you can see we work mostly with churches, schools, in residential places, in colleges and universities, and we do a lot of outdoors. And the rest of the slides are just to show you the evidence that we actually do many things with the boys and the girls. So you can see the screen, what's happening. This was late November last year. A number of things, even for girls, mentorship, and a lot. So the rest of the things are just to show you what we do. And of interest is ex-cons programs that we facilitate in a number of churches. Like on Sunday, we were at PCA St. Andrews in Nairobi, facilitating a parents' capacity building for those whose sons and daughters are joining campus soon. So we are telling them what campus looks like right now and how they can equip their sons and daughters to ensure that they don't get lost in the entire idea of campus experience, especially with the current realities that we have in our Kenyan context. So we do a lot, and we thank God this far that we have been able to make impact in the spaces that He has allowed us to be. That said,
Steve, you're muted.
I let push you out.
Oh, sorry. I hope I've been talking. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You went mute when you stopped sharing screen.
Thank you. Thank you, Rev, for that. Now, a question for all of us, and I would want you to put it in the chat box very fast. We have 24 hours in a day, but because ordinarily we would sleep a half of the 24 hours, I would want us to take 12 hours. So as a parent, of the 12 hours, how much time do you spend on the screen? Especially on your phone, leave alone the work on your phone. Of the 12 hours. So you can say 8 out of 12, 1 out of 12, put it there. Or just 3, 2, 1. I can see Mwake has already put it there. And the facilitator is watching. The facilitator is watching. As a parent, how much time do you spend on your screen? I can see the highest so far is 6 hours. Let's keep them coming, because immediately after this, I introduce the facilitator to take it up from there. Stephen is defending himself. I work on the computer 8 hours. Okay, I see the average here is 4 hours. Huh? Rehab is saying some of us work on phones on day-to-day basis. Okay. Screen depends on what you are doing. So remember, the question did not define what you're actually doing on the screen. But we say that if you're working maybe 8 to 5 on the screen, that's okay. But when you are away from the screen that you usually work every time, how much time do you spend ordinarily on the other one? 8 hours working on the screens. All right. I see people are working on the screens. Now, let's shift the question. Now, not you as a parent, your son or daughter. How much time do they spend? Your son or daughter now, not you. Averagely. And those are your struggles. By the way, we read all your expectations and they were common to all of us. I see. Almost 3 to 4 hours a day, 2 hours a day, child 2 hours a day, 8 to 9 hours. Biaki says, I don't know. Gertrude, 4 hours. I see. Virginia, 3 hours. Okay. The average here again is 4 hours. When I am home, max 2 hours. Somebody saying 8 hours, 8 hours. Still 45 minutes. I have limited it to 1 hour during the weekends. No screen during weekday. 3 hours allowed during the holiday. Lulu says 6 to 8 hours. Joy says 3 hours. Sometimes they go to bed with the phone. So that means you're not able to quantify when they go to bed with the phone. Huh? All right. Thank you, dear parents, for being active on this platform. And I would therefore want to invite our facilitator. As I said, our facilitator is a teacher by profession. And he has taught in the group of schools, Brayside, Brayburn, and the likes for some time. And he's a parent. He will tell us how old his children are. And of course, he's married. And he's a specialist in online child, do I call it wellness? And he loves God. Yes, so Bwana Peter Nderitu. I think that's enough introduction for now. Please pick it up and engage our parents. Karibu sana.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for the invite. And parents, thank you for coming and being on here just to go through this topic of online wellness. I'm Peter Nderitu. I'm a teacher by profession. I've been a teacher for the last 30 years, many years, that is. I'm a father of 2 boys. My firstborn is 19 years old. Secondborn is 17. I have gone through the full cycle of online issues with my boys, me and my wife. When each of my sons turned 10 years and 11 years, I think due to parents' pressure and due to just things going on around those boys. We got them phones. It was a big battle for me in terms of getting them mobile phones or exposing them to the online setup. But I met a parent who challenged me and told me, why don't you take it up as part of your parenting and get them the phones and then parent them through that phone? That was crazy for a parent at that point in time. And when I look back at my two boys now, when I look back at where they are and the things that we've gone through, and through my training, there are quite a number of things that I have learned. It has not been easy as a parent dealing with children online or dealing with children and gadgets. However, a lot of studies have been done around the world, and from those studies, there are quite a number of things which we can do as parents, or we can be equipped as parents and be able to support our children through that online space. I want to say this right from the onset, that the online space is generational intelligence for our children. It is their generational intelligence. It is something that they will not do without. However much we want to cancel our children being online or what our children do online, I just want to make it clear to all of us as parents that our children are growing at an age and at a time where that is their generational intelligence. And as a result of that, because we cannot take it away from them, and because we cannot end it for them and withdraw them from it, then what we need to do is therefore equip ourselves with skills and techniques and the intelligence also as parents on how we can support our children in the online space. For many years, the conversation has always been online safety or digital safety. But there's a big shift now from just safety to wellness. And the reason why there's the shift from safety to wellness is because issues to do with children online cut through their well-being in a number of areas. It affects their emotional well-being, it affects their mental well-being, it affects their physical well-being. And because of that multifaceted impact that children are impacted when they are online, we are looking at the entire scope of wellness of our children. And it's very, very important that we get it right at this point in time when our children are growing. So I'm going to take you through my slides. I've received all your concerns. Thank you very much, parents. I have over 300 concerns, and they all narrow down to some of the issues that I'm going to cover with my slides. And I'm sure by the time we are done, I'll take questions, but I'll also be able to answer some of the concerns that you have brought up because they are quite similar and they cut across all the areas that I'll be presenting to you. So let me say welcome again. And I do hope that in the next 45 minutes, by the end of this, you'll be a more confident parent, a more positive parent, a more supportive parent with your children in terms of their online wellness. And you'll be more confident to deal with, for example, the amount of time they're spending on their gadgets. You'll be more confident in terms of having control over what our children or your children are doing online. So welcome again, and let us pray before we get started. Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you, we honor you, we lift up your holy name. We thank you because of our children at a time such as this, and a generation such as this digital era, this time when many things are going on online in their lives right from when they're very young. As we go through this session, Heavenly Father, I pray you'll equip us, you'll encourage us, you'll give us the tools to be able to support our children through their journey at this point in their lives. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So I'm going to share my slides and we're going to go through these slides. But before we get started, I want to throw a question. And when I throw this question to you, I do hope that from the other end, my co-host will be able to just collect this data for me. Now, my question is this, and I want you to think carefully about it. And this is the question, and you can either answer yes or no. Should your house help, your ayah, your home manager, your housemaid have access to your house internet? Let me repeat again. Should your ayah, your housemaid, or your house manager have access to your house Wi-Fi? I want you to think about it and tell me whether you think it's a yes or no. And as you think about it, I'll be pausing and we're going to discuss that as we move forward. Next question. And I want you to think about this very, very carefully. Now, think about it. Is it wise to take away or withdraw your child's phone when you're upset because they're taking too long on that gadget and lock it away? Is it okay or not? I want you to think about it. Is it okay or not to withdraw a phone or to withdraw an iPad from your child because they have been spending too much time on it? I want you to think about it and we'll be moving forward from there. So I'm going to share a screen and I'm going to go straight to my presentation. And there we are, you can see it. I'm going to reduce the panel so that it's all just me on it. Thank you. So there we are. Can you see me? Or I've disappeared? No worries. So there we are. So
We can
today
see
we're
you.
going to be looking at online wellness for children between the ages of 6. And it's about our parenting awareness and skills. So it's all about online wellness. So what is online wellness and what exactly is this all about? So our presentation today is about supporting you as a mom, supporting you as a dad on how to go through this journey with your child and making sure that the online experience in your home, in your house, for your children and for yourself is positive and beneficial to both of you. Figures and statistics normally set the groundwork for any discussion because figures don't lie, numbers don't lie. Now, according to ChildNet, an organization in the UK that has invested a lot in the welfare of children online, they have done studies across the world and they have looked at penetration of internet in different parts of the world, and they have come up with statistics that would help us a lot in understanding issues to do with our children and their online footprint. 24% of 5 to 7-year-olds have their own smartphones. 24%. In other words, 1 out of every 4 children who are 4 to 7-year-olds can actually say, I own a smartphone. 32% of 8 to 17-year-olds have witnessed, watched, or seen something worrying or nasty on their phones or online in the past 6 months. 40% of 5 to 7-year-olds use social media contrary to the most age rules or limits for most of these social media platforms. 45% of 8 to 17-year-olds have seen content they have felt was inappropriate or made them worried or upset. Did you know that the average age of the first porn online experience for children is 13 years old? That is the average age. In 2012, 5% of adults were using social media. By 2020, 70% of moms and dads were using social media. And also 90% of young adults in 2020, especially in urban areas, in the developing countries, and all over in the developed world, were on social media. 80% of children, this also applies in urban areas in Kenya, 80% have access to a mobile phone, a smartphone, okay, by the age of 15, either owning one or accessing one from a parent or from a relative. 70% of teenagers are active and present online. and 45% of those teenagers are online on a daily basis, especially during school holidays. 35% of teenagers, both in Kenya and around the world, will be bullied online at some point. They will experience threats, degrading abuses, or body shaming. 75% of our teenagers across the world have watched or witnessed or seen harmful content online, which includes pornography, violence, or fake news. Figures don't lie. And the good thing with figures, the good thing with data is that it lays the foundation of our conversation today. 30% of teenagers, both in the developing world and all over the world, will come into contact with a sexual predator by the time they turn 17 years old. 25% of teenage girls, by the time they are 17 years, they will have received a request for a nude. 40% of teenagers are likely to suffer anxiety and sleep disorders as a result of online activity. 60% of riot mobilization around the world is done online by young people. And 70% of alcohol and drug house parties are organized and mobilized online. So these are statistics that we need to bear in mind as we get started. So what is our objective today? What do I want us to achieve by the end of this presentation? Is to make you as a parent aware of the benefits of your child going online. It is not all negative. And I want us to understand something. When your child knows you have a negative mindset about going online, it becomes difficult to support them. When your child knows that you are aware of what they enjoy doing online, you are aware that they need sometimes to be online, then it becomes very easy for you to set boundaries for them and to support them. What else do we want to achieve today? As parents, I want us to be aware, more aware of the risks and dangers our children face online. Number 3, I want to equip you with basic online safety and wellness awareness, because that awareness will help you learn how to manage that situation at home. Number 4, I want you to be equipped with skills on how you can engage your child about what they are doing online. Because when you develop a relationship with your child where whatever they do online is something they can confidently, openly discuss with you, then half of the issues to do with online risks are sorted out. And then the last objective of this presentation today is to make sure that you have full control of every device in your house, full control of every phone, every desktop, every iPad being used at home. And anyway, you are the one who pays for that Wi-Fi. You are the one who installs that Wi-Fi. And therefore, there is no way we can get to a point where our children are running the show when it comes to Wi-Fi management in our homes. So we are also going to be looking at device management so that it becomes much, much easier to control the time, the venue, and the places where our children are using these devices. But we need to ask ourselves a basic question as we get started. Why are our children spending time online? When I went through your expectations, 90% of the issue that came out from your concerns is the amount of time our children are spending online. And what are they doing online? They are watching videos, they are playing games, they are chatting with their friends, and even with family members. They are creating and sharing content. They are learning new skills. They are building virtual or online communities. It's not all bad, to be very honest. There are some things which these children are doing online, which if we open our mind fully and not just look at the dangers, but also look at what are they benefiting from that space, then that positivity would make our conversations with our children much, much, much easier. Because clearly, looking at young people, and not just in this forum, the many forums I've had conversations with parents, is that our children are passionate and enjoy being online. And when you remove those gadgets from children, they feel disconnected. They even get lost. One of you just made it very clear to me from your feedback that my child throws tantrums. My child gets lost when I remove and withdraw that gadget. Mom, I went through the same thing. I went through the same thing with my sons. Then when I confiscated those gadgets and I kept those gadgets away, my boys got lost. They were totally lost because they had invested a lot in terms of communities that they had built in that online space. So what are the benefits? You know, most conversations about online wellness and about online safety is very negative. Parents only hear about all the bad that is out there with the children. But as I said, being online is a generational intelligence, which your child must have. In 2025, if your child cannot maneuver their way online, in 2025, if your child cannot access an online platform, then there is a problem. Most of our children are doing these things rapidly because it is their generational intelligence. And therefore, it's not taking it away that will help us be effective, but it is helping our children in that space making the right decision. And I'll be talking about online resilience as we move on. So what are the benefits of being online? Number one, networking. Children are going online, and when they go online, they are honing their social skills in a cyberspace where they're able to share music, share apps, play games, thoughts, and also opinions. When I got into a fight with my boys about getting them a PS4 then, it was a big fight because to me it was like, why am I buying you a PS? Why are you demanding a PS? So I told them, okay, fine, I'm going to give you a target. I want straight A's in your exam results and I'll get you a PS. Guess what? They delivered the A's. And there they were, Dad, the PS. You promised the PS. So I got them the PS. I never knew that in the PS, they could actually come together as 15 boys and play a game of football on their PlayStation. I never thought of that. To me, it was, you're going to sit there for hours and waste your time, frying your brains, making the wrong decision. But suddenly my younger boy was very excited because over the holidays, he had his buddies there. They had a social network. They had a community that he had created for him. So the issue was, for me, the challenge was, how do I help him get that balance? I did not want to take that away from him. It meant a lot to him. So we had to sit down and have a conversation about how do we get that balance. The other benefit is information. Our children are getting information at their fingertips. Our children are going online. They're getting so much information about things to do with their schooling. I mean, you go online, CBC grade 5 science, but you have got all these websites about science in grade 5. Questions, practice papers, they are studying online. It's a source of information. Why are they going online? For advice and for support. By the time a child is coming to you to discuss an issue, in most cases, they've actually searched on it online. They are going online, and one of the benefits when they go online is that they get information about some issues, some academic issues, some friendship issues that concern them. It is a good thing when they get a good advice and when they get support online. The other reason why our children are going online is to be able to express themselves and have self-identity. So most of these children go online to create a profile for themselves. And when they go online to create this online profile, you'll find that they go to school. And when they go to school, they form a dance group or they form a study group. They start sharing information. One of the parents was telling me how positive their daughter is making use of WhatsApp group. She has a revision WhatsApp group, and she uses that WhatsApp group as a community for revision, for sharing past papers, and for having conversations that have helped that group academically. So that is another thing. And the good thing about online groups or online benefits is that they overcome geographical barriers. So your daughter, your son could be in a group of friends far away, different towns, but doing same things and learning from each other. Remember what I said. It's very important to have a broader picture, not just the negative, but the positive, so that when you're dealing with your child and when your child understands you have the balance and you understand them, then the conversation about online safety becomes much, much easier. So what are the concerns with why are we worried? Why are parents across this country very worried about what's going on online with their children? There are 8 concerns. The possibility that your child is seeing adult content or sexual content, the possibility that your child is meeting strangers who are faceless. And the thing about being online is that there are no boundaries in terms of time and space. So your child can engage with anybody at any time of the day. You're all in bed asleep, 2 a.m., your child is having a chat with someone from somewhere. So that is another big concern. Parents are also concerned about children looking at content that will hurt them or harm themselves. We are also very concerned as parents about your child or my child becoming a victim of sextortion and blackmail. We are also concerned about our child being bullied online or going through exclusion within the society, within the estate where your child lives in. We don't want them to experience bullying. We don't want them to experience exclusion. We are also very concerned about our children online because there are extreme views in terms of politics, in terms of religion, and these views can affect the foundation that we have brought our children up. So we've brought our children in a godly way, but they may go online and actually watch and get influenced by very extreme views, which are in conflict with your family values. We are also very concerned about the impact of time our children are spending online, that impact in terms of their mental and emotional health. Actually, 50% of the concerns that you sent to me are about how do I manage the amount of time that my child is spending online. So it's very, very important to know the concerns that we have. And then the last concern is a drop in academic performance, because of what they are doing online. Now, why is it that some children seem to be managing well their online footprint, whereas some of the children are not able to? And that brings the issue of children online vulnerability. One study has shown clearly that what children go through offline in their family physical ecosystem can affect their vulnerability when they are online. What do I mean by that? Children who are in very strict homes, children who are in homes that are going through divorce, for example, children who are going through homes where they are abused in one way or another, those children end up with low self-esteem. And when they have got low self-esteem or low self-confidence, then they are more prone to taking risks in adolescence. And one of the areas where they become careless and they make careless decisions is when they go online. So the vulnerability of a child online is also mirrored by some of the things that have affected them as they were growing up. So when children, and this is proven, who come from stable families or who came from a home where there's good communication, there are clear boundaries that have been set up, there's respect in that family, then you'll find that those adolescents or those children will respond better when we are trying to set boundaries for them online. So what happens, the vulnerability also comes in when you have children who are traumatized in their home environment. And because online, they meet people who are faceless, they meet people who don't know them, so they can't judge them, then they find themselves in that space, a better place for them to express themselves and to deal with strangers, other than deal with where they feel they're being judged. The other thing that increases vulnerability is the amount of time they spend online. The longer or the greater the time your child is spending online, the higher the likelihood of them getting harmed online. And as I said, it's because there's a faceless audience. One of the things I tell the youth in my church, I go to ICC on Nairobi West, and I normally get involved in the ropes program. And with the ropes program, I have a program for the children and for the parents. And one of the things that we discuss about safety for children is, and I tell them, it doesn't matter whether it's a WhatsApp group, whether it is on Facebook, whether it is on Instagram, if you cannot put a face to a name, don't respond. If you cannot clearly put a face to an individual online, the basic rule for our children is never communicate or exchange communication with a faceless person online. And that is a big problem. And that means if our children are spending too much time, the risk of them interacting with a faceless person increases. The other thing is because of lack of control. And one of the things that came out from the feedback I got from you is, how do we control? One of the things that we need to think about is, how do we control what is shared online at home? And one of the things that we can do, and we'll be discussing this, is putting filters in our systems at home that filter what comes through to our children. But then the problem is the next door neighbor has no filters, and your child are best friends with those children. So they'll just go to your neighbor's house and be able to access. So then how do we deal with situations where you are the only parent with filters and the other neighbors don't have filters? How do we deal with that? Now, we've looked at the issue of vulnerability and the reasons why some children are more vulnerable than others when it comes to online risks. Because when you understand the risks, the 4 C's, where these risks are categorized under, it's going to make it very easy for you to even focus on how to advise your child. Now, there are 4 areas: content, contact, conduct, and commerce. So these are the 4 areas. And when you're able to be specific to your child and say, let's have this conversation, I'm okay with one of the C's, I'm not okay with this one, then you focus your conversation and it becomes much, much easier to help your child. What is content? The content risk online is your child getting exposed to illegal, inappropriate, or harmful content. That's pornography, fake news, self-harm, and extremism. That is content. What is online? Contact is what I've just talked about. It is the risk of your child interacting with strangers, interacting with faceless people who may not mean well for your child. Whereas I've talked about children having great online communities with their friends, with their schoolmates, we must also be cognizant that it is in that same space that our children can meet people who they don't know, they can't put a face to. And that is why one basic rule, one basic family online rule is that you never interact, communicate with an individual or with anyone that you cannot put a face to. The other thing is conduct. It's very important for your child to understand and to be aware that whatever they post, whatever images they post, whatever comments they post, whatever likes they do, there are consequences. It is their online footprint. I tell ropers when we are discussing this issue that at my place of work, somebody did not get a job because of a post they posted when they were in university. Employers are now using AI to find and actually go back up to 25 years. What did this individual do online? So it's very important for your child to understand that whatever they do, their conduct online can have serious consequences in terms of their career choices, in terms of their progression in life. Very, very important. So then the fourth C is commerce. When our children are online, either gaming or on social media, they can be exploited financially. And this is happening a lot, especially with us who have boys who play a lot on PS5 or PS4 and who do a lot of gaming. When they are gaming, they'll always be having cases where they need to buy V-Bucks, they need to buy currencies that help them buy features that would make them more effective in the games that they're taking part in. So what happens, especially now where mobile money platforms have got global cards, is that these children are now using mobile money to actually gamble and buy things online. So there's a commerce risk whereby your child can get exposed to gambling much, much earlier by activities that go on online. So then, what are the dangers? What are the harms that our children can face online? So moms and dads, I'm sorry, I will stress you here. There are about 25 of them. It's quite a long list, but be assured that all these things, we can manage them. All these things, we can safeguard our children. So I'll just go through them. Where I need to explain, I'm going to explain. Where I don't need to explain, I'll just carry on. So some of the dangers and risks or harms that our children can face when they are online include mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and irritability. Your child is suddenly irritable. That came out from the feedback you gave me. A few of you told me, how do I deal with this? When I withdraw the phone, when I cut the Wi-Fi, my child is irritable, becomes very aggressive. Yes, that is one of the online harms. Violence, gang violence, gender violence, marital violence, exclusion and isolation, bullying, both verbal and physical, sexual images leading to sextortion, children being told to take pictures of themselves when they are semi-nude, and then these pictures, they are threatened, they'll be made to circulate if they don't send money. And that is why when you find your child is suddenly asking you for a lot of money, unexplained expenditures, we need to be worried about that. Body shaming, financial extortion, radicalization.
The
Gang
letter they insisted it's not necessary. Yes, sir.
induction to drug abuse, grooming, slavery, declining academic standards, deep
Hey.
fake news, screen addiction disorder, and that also has come out from the concerns that you have. In fact, one of you said my child actually has
Sawa. Acha-
SAD, and SAD is actually correct. SAD simply means screen addiction disorder, and it's affecting a lot of children. Poor social skills, that is poor body language response, because they are not used to face-to-face conversations, so they cannot read body language, they cannot respond well on face-to-face interactions, okay? Riot mobilization is another new one that has come up both across Europe, in Africa, where online harms, one of the online harms is where young people are actually mobilized to take part in riots, forgery of academic qualifications, pornography, animal cruelty, and this comes as a result of gaming, where they take part in these games where they are slashing animals' heads, they are slashing and cutting tails and just causing harm to animals. They translate that into real life, and they're very cruel to pets. Hatred and political profiling, use of AI in cheating exams, etc. So those are about 25 harms that can affect my child, that can affect your child when they are overly engaged online. So then, let's deal with the problem. We've looked at the issues. For those of us who've just joined us, we've looked at a number of things. Number one, I started off with facts and figures. We looked at why our children are spending time online. We've looked at benefits of our children being online. We've looked at our concerns. Why are we concerned about what our children are doing online? What makes our children vulnerable when they're online? We've looked at the 4 C's, or categories of online risks. This is content, contact, conduct, and commerce. We've looked at the harms. We've looked about 25 harms that our children can be exposed to when they are online. So now let's talk about online well-being. Let's deal with the problem now. Let's now get to the crux of the matter. How do we equip ourselves as parents? How do we become confident as parents to deal with this issue? Now, online well-being is simply about what online issues make our children feel. It's how they feel when they go online. That is all about well-being. When they are online, how does that affect their emotions? How does that affect their mental health? How does that affect their health, physical health? How does that affect their social skills? How does that affect their totality as individuals and as characters? Online well-being is an area where, when we are achieving it, the target is to make sure that your child is able to get the balance right, the balance between their online lives and their offline lives. So when you are aiming at achieving online wellness, then you are looking at making sure that that balance is achieved. So to do that, we are also aiming at making sure that when your child is online, it becomes a positive experience. It becomes a place where their lives are enhanced and simplifies their lives, rather than it being a place where they're distracted, where there's a lot of worry, and where there's a lot of upset. The other thing in terms of achieving online well-being for our children is that as parents, we must be aware of the online space being an important tool for our children, not just a negative tool. And when your child is aware that you are looking at it positively, you are balanced when you're dealing with your online issues, then that child will respond better when you're dealing with challenges that they face online. In fact, as I said earlier, the online space has become a very important space where children can access support, advice, and also a place where they can develop communities. So what are the barriers to talking to parents? Why are our children not talking to us about the things going on online or the things affecting them when they are online? So 5 areas have been identified by ChildNet, an organization in the UK that have done a huge amount of research on issues to do with online and children. So there are 5 reasons why our children don't want to talk to us when it comes to online issues. Number 1, they are too embarrassed. They are too embarrassed and they don't want you to know some of the things that affect them online. Number 2, they are worried about what's going to happen next. The greatest barrier why our children are not talking to us about issues to do with online wellness that affect them is they know what will happen next. And the most immediate thing that comes to their mind, my phone will be taken away, there'll be no Wi-Fi in the house. And that becomes a serious barrier why children are not telling us issues that they are facing online. They would rather sort it themselves. They would rather deal with it themselves rather than have the internet cut or their gadgets taken away from them. The other thing they are worried about is being blamed. We will tend to blame them a lot. You're the one spending so much time online. You're not studying. That's a big barrier. They fear being blamed for the challenges that they are facing online. No, you are the one who joined the group. You are the one who responded to that conversation or to that chat. That is where you got yourself into this trouble. So they fear being blamed. And that's a barrier. That's why they are not telling us about the challenges they are facing online. And then the other thing, and this has to do with chat groups, is that they are worried that they'll be targeted by those involved. So they fear if they tell you about what's happening in a chat group, they fear if they tell you what is happening online that involve other people, they fear that the repercussions would lead them being targeted, being excluded, and they don't want to be excluded. So those are the 5 barriers that lead to difficult conversations with our children. They don't want to talk to us. However, how do we start that conversation? And that is why now we are dealing with the solutions. How do you start those conversations with your children? So I've got 5 examples of tested, proven, I've used them, that would help you start a conversation, not a fight, a conversation with your child about what they're doing online. Number 1, what do you enjoy looking at and learning about online? And show me. Let's sit down, bring your phone, sit on the sofa with your child, take your child through the forest. That's what I tell parents. Ask them, what do you enjoy looking at and learning about online? Because what they will not show you at that moment, they will learn that that is your standard. What they will show you, and they are confident and you approve it and you encourage and you're happy about it, then they will start learning your boundaries. They'll start knowing this is what my parent expects. So what do you enjoy looking at and learning about online? Number 2, where do you go to find information? And what do you use it for? So where do you get information? What do you find out information? Do you Google for that information? Do you go to Facebook for this kind of information? Do you go to TikTok for this kind of information? And then actually engage your child and say, by the way, let's find out more about something that's happening in the world today. Okay, so the Chinese and the Americans are having a trade war. Let's go to TikTok. Let's find out what's going on TikTok about that. So you pick a topic and you actually engage your child to get information together with your child. What are you doing as you do that? You are showing your child that the right information can be found in all these websites or in all these online platforms that you go to, and you are showing them the standard that you expect of them and the kind of information you expect them to look for. So you are engaging them. It is also at that point, number 2, where you tell your child, there's also bad information on these platforms. So you are sitting next to your child. You are taking your child through the forest. You're equipping your child how to survive in that forest. Number 3, how do you decide if you trust something online? Here, you're equipping your child. The child is sat next to you, and you're actually equipping your child not to believe everything that goes on online. So you're actually starting a conversation through these questions. And these 5 questions can help solve a multiple of fears and worries that we have about our children when they are online. What should you do if you saw someone sharing something fake or inaccurate? You are helping your child here to manage themselves, how to manage themselves in chat groups. What if there's bullying going on in a chat group that you're a member of? How are you going to go about it? What if there's body shaming in your chat group with your friends? How are you going to go about it? And you're sat next to your daughter, you're sat next to your son, and you're having that conversation. And it is at that moment that you are equipping your child through that conversation, you being involved, you demonstrating the interest, that they are actually learning how to deal with bullying, how to deal with fake news in a chat group. And then number 5, who can I help? Or I think that typing was wrong. Who can you go for help if you see something that you're not sure about? Equip your child to know who they can talk to and build confidence in them that they can talk to you. Build confidence in them that they can talk to their uncle, they can talk to their auntie, they can talk to a family member, they can talk to their teacher. When I did a survey with my ropes class at ICC about the level of confidence in terms of discussing online issues. And I gave them parents, teachers, friends, extended family members. Number one person that they have confidence in sharing online issues is friends, then teachers, then extended family members, and at the bottom was parents. And I asked them, why? How? You're with your parents every day in your home. They say they judge us. They are so harsh. The moment you tell them, Mr. Nderitu, that is a fight, my phone will be taken away. In fact, one girl told me my phone was smashed there and then. And it's unfortunate, but I understand. We react that way. We love our children. We are concerned. So it's important for your child to know. And it's also important for you to know who your child goes to, who your child would go to when they're facing challenges online. So those are online conversation starters. Those online conversation starters will solve 90% of the questions that came up with. Even ask them, why do you take 3 hours? Okay, let's sit down together. Let's go through these 3 hours together. That's when your child gets shocked. That's when your child knows you're very serious. Dad, sit with me for 3 hours. Yeah, I want to see what you go through. I told my son when he was around 14, I said, you're taking too much time. What is this? From morning till evening, you're on your phone. What is going on? So one afternoon, I just called him. I said, get yourself a glass of water, get yourself something, be relaxed. Let's sit down. 3 hours nonstop. I want to go through your phone with you. What you do, I'm here with you. Let's go through that. Within 30 minutes, my son was like, Dad, that is all I do. I don't do. Then I asked him, but you take hours. So have you realized it only takes you 30 minutes and you're done with your friends, with your research, with everything. And then I realized it was the movies on TikTok that was keeping them busy. And so we had to discuss how to manage TikTok, because that seemed to be where the other 2.5 hours used to go to, watching a lot of movies and video clips on YouTube and on TikTok. And we had to deal with that with time. So number 5 is very important when your child actually tells you, this is where I will get help from. And it's important for you to know that, so that when there's a worry, then you know how to guide your child. So in terms of online resilience now, remember we've looked at barriers to talking, the hindrances why they are not talking to us about their challenges online. We've also looked now at starters of conversations, the questions where you get your child next to you. You sit here, bring your phone. I have my phone. Let's go through basic questions. That conversation is the beginning of helping your child to be safe when they are online. So in terms of online resilience, look at this comment here. Removal of smartphones and internet access altogether, while it might eliminate the risk, it does not help for the modern world or teach a child how to utilize and benefit from the enormous opportunities this digital age has to offer. Or importantly, grow their online resilience. So what we are looking here is online resilience, that your child knows what to do, that your child knows how to manage themselves, that your child knows how to keep themselves safe when they are online. So how do we build resilience in our children? How do we make sure that our children, when they are in that space, it doesn't matter how long they are in, how are we confident that our children are safe in that space? So we're going to be looking at ways in which we can build online resilience with our children. So online resilience simply means your child's ability to cope with challenges and crises online. It also refers to your child's ability to say no and to control their time when they are online. That is online resilience, where your child is able to tell themselves, I've been here for too long, I need to go back to my books. I've been here for too long, I need to go out and play with my friend. So online resilience is when your child knows what to do and knows who to go to when their digital well-being and mental health is affected. So when your child knows what to do when things go wrong online, when your child knows when to stop when they are online, that is online resilience. For a child to develop online resilience, there's an environment that we need to create at home. And it is very important to have this environment at home. This environment would help your child be confident in developing online resilience. So, number one, give support to your child. So when I told you about sitting down with your child and going through their phone, sitting down with your child and going through their online activity, that demonstrates support, and your child knows you are there positively to support them. A healthy routine and a sense of stability, a healthy routine in the family. Dinner time, no phones. After 9 p.m., all phones are in my parents' bedroom, because that is where all children phones are charged from. No child goes to bed with their mobile phone, because the blue light, and I'll be talking about it, the screen light from those screens, the blue light, when a child spends 2 to 3 hours before they sleep, then you are already creating a sleeping disorder in them. So every child in the family, as long as you're 17 years and below, all phones in my bedroom. And that is what it was with my boys. By 8:30, we are done. There's nothing you're doing after 8:30. All the phones in my room for charging. All the iPads are there. And that's it, because that's where I charge. And that's why they had their chargers fixed on a multi-plug. And I told them, you don't bring your phone by 8:30, your phone will be dead tomorrow, because I will not charge it. So have a routine and a sense of stability. Affection and clear, consistent boundaries. Very important. Boundaries. By the way, have you noticed when your child is carrying a phone and they go to the toilet, where a short call that takes less than 4 minutes or less than 2 minutes, that short call takes 15 minutes, because they sit on the toilet and they do an extra 10 minutes on their phone. Or when they're doing a long call, have you noticed when your child goes with a phone to the toilet, instead of taking 5 minutes, they can even be there for 20 minutes. So it's a clear boundary. No phones in the toilet. You will never walk with a phone in the toilet. From dad, mom, to every child in the family. No phone, no going with your phone to the toilet. And that is creating a very interesting thing today, where children are finding the toilet as the place where they can, especially when mom and dad are in the house, that's the place where they can watch and see something that they don't want the rest of the house to know. Have the ability to adapt to change. And it's very important to be in an environment where your child knows that you're ready to talk to them and adapt to change. In other words, when your child needs to be online, you're not too strict to stop them. But when their child is too much spending time online, you're also firm with your rules and be able to control that. You can adapt to change. You can tell your child, I know today I've only allowed you 2 hours online, but I know you are doing your homework. I know you're doing your research. You can have an extra 1 hour to finish your schoolwork. That adaptability. And then, of course, a good parent and child relationship. When your child and child-parent relationship is good, then building resilience in children becomes very easy. So your child will have achieved online resilience if the following 4 things are happening with your child. Number 1, when your child understands that they may be at risk online and they appreciate it and they are happy and they know it. Number 2, when your child knows what to do if something goes wrong when they're online. Number 3, when they are able to learn from their past experiences and make the right decisions online. And number 4, when your child is able to recover after a difficult experience online. When those things are evident in your child, then you know that your child is beginning to develop resilience when they are online. So what skills then do we need? I'm just about to close. I'm just about to come to the end, and then we'll do a number of activities. So what skills do we need to navigate the online impact on our children? Let's look at what do we avoid. What do we avoid? When you're dealing with online issues, can someone please put that, thank you. When you're dealing with online issues, there are things that we need to avoid. Number one, avoid fights. Do not bombard your child with too many questions. It's not going to work. Number two, expecting your child to disclose everything, what they do online. Yes, that can happen maybe with children who are below the age of 10. But expecting your adolescents at home to tell you everything they do online, that is expecting too much. It won't happen. Your teenager, your child will not disclose to their parents everything they do online. So avoid getting into a fight. I want to know everything you're doing online. Show me your Facebook page. Show me all the TikTok movies or videos that you've been watching. I want to know what you're doing until 2 a.m. on your phone. That will not happen. So avoid that. Belittling or attacking them, making it a fight, blaming everything on social media. You are not working hard in school because you're spending too much time on your phone. You are not socializing with your friends because you're spending too much fun on your gadgets. So when social media and when gadgets become the sole source of all the problems, then that is something you need to avoid. Confiscating the devices. I tried this with my sons. I made things worse. It's not going to happen. So when you confiscate or turning on Wi-Fi, it's not a long-term strategy. So avoid that. Then, what then should we try as parents? What should we try as parents? Number one, keep conversations open and neutral. We are not judging. We are keeping it open and neutral. And we are not judgmental. We are not judging our kids. We are inquiring. Remember the 5 questions where you can start that conversation. That is where we need to start from. Sitting next to our children and asking them those questions and discussing those questions with them. Provide safe spaces to explore their thoughts and their feelings about social media use. Don't shout at your child in public. Don't embarrass your child. Don't bring down your child in public. Call your child in a safe space, the 2 of you, or if it is all the children in the family, the 3 of them or the 4 children, sit down with them. Don't expose them. Don't make it an embarrassing situation where they feel exposed and where they feel put down. And then provide them resources. Now, this is where now I changed my boys' thinking about TikTok. Because what I did was using their phones and using their WhatsApp, I started going to TikTok and I started looking for positive resources, video clips that had to do with improving their academics, improving their skills. And through that, I modeled for them that this is what I want you to be exposed to. So provide resources and actually do it online. Provide those resources online. Let them know this is the standard my parents are setting for them. And then teach them to question, challenge, and debate messages they see online. Remember I talked to you about taking your child through the forest. Sit down with your phones. Sit down with your phones, okay? And tell them, aha, so you saw this on your phone, or this is the movie you are seeing, or this is the dance you are looking at. So let's go through it. Do you think this is real? Is it fake? How does this impact on you? So you are engaging your child to develop a critical mind where they are able to question what is online. They don't just take everything with a big spoon, but they are now able to critically assess the impact of what goes on online. Is this fake? And I remember when I had this QCDB with my boys, it was quite embarrassing for them. They're like, Dad, you can't be serious. How can you be watching this with me? I said, yes, because you watch it. It's my business. Let's go through this. You look at these things online. So now let's ask ourselves a big question. What did you learn from this? How did this affect your life? How has this added value to you? That conversation, that critical thinking through what they're doing online helps your child develop good resilience when they're online, and it is something which I would like you to try. The other thing is that make them aware of the law. Let them understand there's no banter online. Posting that sentence, being part of a bully group on a WhatsApp group where you're body shaming a friend, let them understand, don't post, because these things are protected in law. There is a data protection law, and you can be taken to court because of what you've posted online. And that starts creating controls and barriers with your children. Let your children know it's very important that you manage what you post and what you say online. Think before you press send. Encourage your children to control their screen time. Now, when it comes to screen time, and that's a big issue that has come here, it's just about modeling. It's just about letting your children know the impact of 4, 5 straight hours when they're online, 3 hours when they're on the screen. What does that do to them? And when they recognize the impact, the negative impact, and when it comes from you, when that conversation has happened, it helps your children in terms of their online resilience. Then the other thing, of course, is setting boundaries with them. I've talked about family boundaries. For example, not going with a phone to the toilet, all phones in dad's bedroom at 9 or at 8:30. They are charged in my bedroom. If you don't bring your phone by 8:30, that phone will not be charged for as long as I'll decide. You are setting boundaries for them. The other thing is celebrate the good resources online. When your child knows that you are happy about their CBC research online, you are happy about their environmental project they're doing online, you are happy about that dance that they are practicing in church, and the dance is on YouTube, and they're going to YouTube and they're learning that dance that they're presenting in church. When you celebrate those good resources, then your child understands that it is not a war, but it is a cooperation and a journey, and you're part of them. And it is true. They will be given video clips in church. Your child is part of a youth group and they are doing an Easter presentation, an Easter play. They'll be given a link. Go to this link. Now, you can imagine your child is actually looking at that link, and with our mindset, the way it is as parents, we are very aggressive. And the first thing that you do is that, what are you doing online? You've been online the whole day. Yet what your child is doing is practicing an Easter presentation this coming Friday. You have just destroyed a relationship there. You've just made it very hard to interact and to support your child online. And then encourage, of course, personal boundaries. And one important personal boundary that you need to think about and talk to your child tonight is never, ever send images of yourself semi-nude or nude. That is a complete no-no. That is a personal boundary. The personal boundary is you can see my face only. The rest of my body is covered. And I'll be discussing why that is very important, that your child needs to know that. That is a covenant. Son, daughter, never, ever, ever send a semi-nude or a nude image of yourself in any form or shape. That becomes a personal boundary for your child. So what are the parental supports as I come to the end? I'll just go through this quickly. So set time limits. So parental online support strategies, set time limit, especially with gaming. Set parental controls. One of the things that has come out clearly here is that how do I control what my child is seeing? Go to your service provider. They will give you ideas on how to filter and control what is watched and what is accessed in your home online. Environment, discourage children, never. It's a complete no-no. Your child, as long as they're below the age of 18, should never take their phones and their iPads to bed. That's a complete no-no, because that, as I said, leads to a lot of other issues that may affect them even a lifetime. Participation. create opportunities for children to go out and play. The offline life is as good as the online life. We've got to humanize our children. Our children need to understand that these are content creators on all these platforms. They are making money. That is not real life. And you've got to make them understand that is not human. That is not who they are in real life. And humanize them by bringing them to the family context where they understand our values of kindness, our values of care, our values of respect, and also creating an environment for them where they are able to go out there and enjoy the outdoor life, the outdoor. You can actually come up with a group within your estate of moms and dads, and you agree as an estate, you agree Monday to Friday, 9 to 3, let the kids go out, no Wi-Fi. Let's not allow these children on gadgets. And that will involve them in outdoor activities. Look at that picture there. This is us when we were young kids. We used to play football. And because we didn't have bibs. Can you imagine? Children nowadays say, we can't play football because there are no bibs. You are yellow, you are red. Us guys used to just lift up a shirt. So you guys, you are bears, and you guys, you have got your shirts on. That's how we grew up. So let your children go out there and participate more in outdoor activities. Encourage your child to share their concerns. Create no barriers. Break the barriers where your child can actually come to you and say, Dad, Mom, this morning I was online. I saw this. It affected me and I'm worried about this. Mom, Dad, in my WhatsApp group with my friends, I saw somebody being bullied. Mom, Dad, when I was online, a pop-up showed up on my screen and it was a naked person. They've got to have a clear, open, warm environment at home where they can tell you everything they have experienced. Digital footprints, I've talked about things that can affect them. Let the kids know you may delete it from your gadget, but it's not deleted from the internet. Somebody can pull it down in future. Let them know that's their digital footprint. And with AI today, with artificial intelligence, 20 years from now, even if you change your name, even if you change your identity, it can still be traced to you. Screen time, I've talked about this. Let your child know the impact of long hours on the screen, and especially the sleep disorders that come with blue light. And that is why moms and dads, 9:30, 8:30, all phones in your bedroom, have a multi-plug, have all the chargers with you, and control it from there. Critical thinking, I've talked about it. Help your child question what they see online. If they see something online that goes against your family values, they should be able to question it. Have a talk, have an honest conversation with your child, and have these talks weekly. Have them weekly. Have them weekly. Sit on the sofa. Oh, you're spending 3 hours online. Okay, let's sit down. Let me take you through this ride. I want to see what you're doing. I never knew how to game. I never knew how PS games used to happen. When I saw my son taking 2 to 3 hours gaming, I said, okay, today you're going to game with your dad. And my son burst out laughing. Dad, how? What do you mean? And I told him, you're going to teach me everything, how you go about this pad, how you shoot the ball, how you pass the ball. And I sat there with my son for 3 hours. And then that's when I started asking him, what else could we have done with these 3 hours? I think it was too long. And that opened that conversation and we were able to deal with a lot of issues. If your child, and I'm coming to the close now, if your child has been negatively affected online, seek professional help. Seek a counselor to support your child. It doesn't matter the damage. Your child will get help. There are professional counselors in churches. There are professional counselors in Nairobi who can support your child if they have been affected by the activity online. Wherever possible, and you feel your child has been bullied, molested, or if you suspect sextortion has happened, preserve the evidence because it becomes a police case. We have a Child Protection Act, and you should be able to seek legal redress. Help your child close all social media accounts or active platforms where maltreatment or abuse has occurred. So once your child tells you, I was in this WhatsApp group and I was body shamed in this group, Get your child out of all those platforms. Help your child and support your child. Discuss the dangers of being online, but also the positives. But lean more towards the positives and encourage your child to be part of healthy communities online, to use that productive space for education. As I told you, right now, I know a lot of children who are preparing for Easter activities in their churches, and all these links have been sent online. Are we going to tell them no? No. We are going to encourage that positive use of that online space as they go through their holidays. If your child has a mobile money account, now parents, listen to me very, very carefully. Because of the global wallets, now, with global wallets attached to mobile money accounts, your child can basically purchase anything anywhere in the world online. So that mobile money account, especially with that global facilitation, means that your child can get involved in gambling, can get involved in betting, can actually be scammed online, and therefore monitor if your child has mobile money, because some of the children between the ages of 15, 16, 17, we've allowed them to have an extension of your mobile account. If they frequently ask for money and they cannot account for that money, please, 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 please take note and be very careful. Do not withdraw equipment. Do not switch off Wi-Fi. It's not going to help. It's counterproductive. Just teach your child to develop that discipline through some of those points that I've shared with you. Let your child participate and contribute to family online manners and rules. Family online manners. It is bad manners to have your phone on dinner table, breakfast table, lunch table. That is bad manners. Involve your child in making those rules. It is a rule in this family. By 8:30, all phones are in mom's and dad's bedroom, placed next to the charger. That's it. It's not something to discuss, but let your child understand why and why it's important. The other thing is, and this is very important, for all your children gadgets, when they are at home, not on holiday, when they are at home, they should be password free. As a parent, you should be able to access your child's phone anywhere, anytime. It's very simple. You want to have a password? Forget the Wi-Fi. If you are in this home, if you are in this family, as your parents, I must be able to pick your phone and click on any app and know exactly what you've been doing. There is nothing to hide. You are the child. So it's very, very important. Then the other thing is organize whole family Wi-Fi and gadget detox sessions. Holidays, like now. Just decide boys and girls, sons and daughters, Tuesday and Wednesday, we are detoxing. There'll be no Wi-Fi in this house. There will be no gadgets for children. It's as simple as that. And make it fun. And tell them, during these 2 days, I want a piece of art from you. You're going to do a piece of art. Or during these 2 days, I want you to do 4 past papers to prepare yourself for your grade 6 exam. In other words, you're making it fun, you're rewarding, you're giving them something to do. What I've noticed is that most parents, as much as we want to detox, we are not giving children alternatives. So you've woken up in the morning, you're upset, your child has been on these gadgets, give them the option. This is what I want you to do instead. Today, I want your room sorted out. I want this room properly arranged, your wardrobes, your shoes, all your clothes done again. I want this room sorted out and tidied up. Once you've done that, I want you to get your paper textbook and your paper exercise books. Make for me revision cards for at least 2 subjects. So you have withdrawn the gadgets, but you have replaced with something that they can do and that is meaningful. But when you withdraw the gadgets and you don't give them a structure of how they are going to spend that time, then I think we are creating a big problem. So as I finish, I want you to listen carefully to this. And I want to say this as I come to a close. So this is a research that was done by an organization in the UK, and they wanted to find out, they're looking at the global effect and impact of children being online. So I want to read through this and just read with me or just have a look as we go through this. And this is true, this is real. Receptionists in hotels around the world were asked what was the first thing that children asked for as soon as they arrived at the hotel's lobby. So these are receptionists in top hotels around the world, different countries in the world, and 90% of children asked, what is the Wi-Fi password? It's a global issue. Being online for our children is a serious global issue. Across the world, 90% of receptionists said the first thing children ask when they go on holiday at the hotel's lobby is, what is the Wi-Fi password? So what does this tell us as I close? Being online is the generational intelligence of our children today, and we cannot run away from this fact. It is their new playground. It's their new classroom, their new cinema, their new gathering place, their new concert venue, their shopping street, their encyclopedia, their tour guide, their dance and sports coach, and research assistant. That is the online space. However, and sadly, that same space, sadly, that same online space is a crime scene, a brothel, a wild nude party, a riot gang, a drug shop, a violent fight in a ring, a gambling shop, a pedophile's paradise, a bully's zone, and a backstreet clinic. No parent is fully equipped to guide their child in this space, but each parent, each one of us, me and you, can sit down with our children and talk about it. Me and you can sit down and talk with our children about everything that's going on online. Asanteni sana. I will now end the sharing, and I'm going to take questions, and we are going to have any conversation on anything that I may have missed out. Thank you very much.
Wow. Here we are. Thank you, dear parents. I could see a number of you are taking notes. And today is quite interesting that a number of us parents have our videos on. I encourage us that even in our subsequent webinars, we could. And I can see some even have their children seated next to them so that they could also get the maximum out of it. Thank you so much. Now, we want to pick a few questions. And as we pick a few questions, I've been putting in the chat box a link to join our WhatsApp group for parents so that you do not miss any communication about upcoming webinars. These webinars happen every month. And we are looking forward to more sessions in next month and going forward. As that happens, if you have a question, please put up your virtual hand, you ask. And as you prepare to ask to our facilitator, there's a question on the question you asked about Wi-Fi in the house. Could you mention something as somebody raises their hand to ask questions?
Okay, the first question I asked was, should your ayah, should your maid or your house manager have access to Wi-Fi in your house? The answer is yes. It is very important on two levels. The first level is child protection, is protecting your child. Let me give you an experience I had with my wife. So we allowed our ayah to have access online. One of the things that happened was it was very easy for us to instantly communicate with me and my wife on issues that were happening in the house. So it was very, very important in terms of communication. but also it helped us identify and know some things about her that we never knew. So you know how the algorithms tend to relate people or contacts on your phone with people who you're close by. So what happened was the algorithm popped her Facebook account up to be a friend, for my wife to be her friend. So what my wife did was like, she decided, yeah, let me do it. And when she did it, shock on my wife, she found cookery lessons that our house help was doing. But this is the part. Get whose clothes she was wearing. She was wearing my wife's clothes. And it became a very serious issue because we discovered things that we never knew about her. So it's very important, one, from a child safety issue and knowing her, but on a positive note for communication. It's very important that your ayah is in that space in your home. I know it can distract them. They're employed to work, and I know they can spend a lot of time, but with filters, you can also be able to control. But more than anything else, it helps you know who that person is that you have employed in your house. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And as we pick another question, in our course of mentorship, where we do a lot of mentorship for young people, one of the questions that parents ask is, how do I navigate this challenge that one parent wants these clear rules and the other parent has his or her own standard and rules? So you realize that you're doing, as a parent here, you're doing as much to control access time and all that. Then the other parent is like, no, let the child have full access. How do you navigate that? Thank you.
Now, that is where the issue of resilience comes in. And you remember I talked about helping your child develop online resilience. Now, when your child develops online resilience, they learn the boundaries. They learn when to say no. They control the amount of time that they spend online. As I said, when it comes to online resilience, just to make one thing very clear about online resilience is that it helps your child be safe within your home and out of your home. So when your child understands the boundaries and when your child understands the limits to what they can be exposed to, then it secures your child in whichever environment they go to. Because you're right, you will have those rules in your family. You will have those filters in your family. But the neighbor downstairs doesn't have them. The neighbor across the street doesn't have them. The school where your child goes to, they don't have those boundaries. They don't have those filters. So that is taken care of when we develop online resilience and our children know what to say no and what to accept. And they're the ones now who now set standards for their friends, and they're able to say, hey, look here, at home, I'm not allowed to watch pornography. It is not good to watch pornography. It's going to affect you. And my mom and my dad have taught me not to do that. So your children are able to stand for themselves because you've had that conversation with them and you have developed online resilience for them.
And I agree with that because one of the reports I got recently from a teen that we work with is that he was able to have a conversation with the dad who was championing access even to pornography. And he was able to face the dad and say, Dad, I don't think what you're telling me is the right thing to do. I will follow what mom has advised me to do. And we can engage on other things, but on this one, I say no. And of course, the dad released the boy to go back to the mother, treating that as being rude. But I love it that the boy was able to be resilient enough to stand for what is right in such a context. Any question, please raise up your hand, the virtual hand, using the emoji or, yeah, so that you ask very fast. Any question, any concern, anybody to share something? And yes, Pauline Togo, please unmute and go ahead. And we make it brief and straight to the point. Pauline.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very great presentation. Unfortunately, I joined halfway because I had some issue with the internet. One request, I pray that the recording can be shared, including the presentations, that is, if it is possible. Secondly, I would like to say we as parents, we are the biggest culprits when it comes to these, the uncontrolled use of gadgets. Because sometimes we ourselves, if we are not disciplined enough, our children are not going to be disciplined. We are the role models for our kids. They mirror what they see. So first and foremost, the discipline and the resilience and everything about this online space and engagement has to start with us. And that way we are going to build a community that is also resilient and responsible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for putting an emphasis on that. There's a book that I would still recommend to us, How Children Parent Parents. I will share in the WhatsApp group, How Children Parent Parents. And it helps you. By the time we are having this conversation, you realize that as a parent, you have your own background and you're standing at your parenting styles. So children will bring you to that place where you say, all right, I think the only thing that is going to work here is to have a honest conversation, especially with the teens, because they will drain your energy. All right. Teresa, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the insightful session. So I wanted to ask what is the optimal age to give the kids a phone?
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a very good question. What is the age? We are at a time whereby age limits don't exist anymore. The youngest active person on TikTok is 3 years old. The oldest person on TikTok actively is about 86 years old. So where are the boundaries here? So and you will notice you go to a family meeting somewhere, and a little child becomes disruptive, or they're crying, or they're getting a bit restless. What do parents do? Even for a 1-year-old child, we pass the phone to them. We open to them that cartoon. We open to them that game. So you'll notice that some children from 1 year, they're already on their phones. And some shoshos at 86 years, they're posting on TikTok. So it becomes very difficult in terms of what is the right age. So what happened with me and why I decided to give my boys phones when they turned 11, it was more of peer pressure, and it was to challenge myself to actually take control of that situation. And that became a big challenge for me, but we were able to navigate it. But again, I had to set very firm and very clear rules, and they had to stick to those rules. So when it comes to age limits, all these online platforms, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, the minimum age is 13 years. The minimum age is 13 years. But we are finding children as young as 7, as young as 5, opening accounts and being active in those spaces. But in most of these places, 13 years is the minimum age required to be active.
Thank you. I'll give an opportunity to Grace, but just before I invite Grace, there's an article I was reading this week that today the primary parent is not you and me who are here. I'm also a parent. The primary parent is the internet. We have been pushed to be co-parents. So the internet is actually doing the bulk of parenting in terms of shaping worldview, in values and all that, and we are co-parenting. And the conclusion of that article is unless a parent becomes intentional about getting to the world and reality of his or her sons and daughters, can we change the narrative again? Thank you. Grace, please go ahead.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you for this session. It was really informative. I really appreciate. Myself, I'm not a parent, but I normally train severally on child safeguarding, like practically. So this was also an informative session. So my question is, to Peter, in terms of the digital space, of how to do the controls for the digital literacy, which sites can you advise us to go to so that we learn how to, put those parental controls and such? I'm asking this because I have some colleagues who have the YouTube Kids channel, and they say even in that content, sometimes you have to filter, you have to literally go there and filter some of this content. The gadgets, what are some of the ways you can put the controls and such? Thank you.
Peter, you're muted.
So yes, no, I was just sorting out something. So that's a very good question, and it's a big challenge, not just in Kenya, not just in Nairobi. It is across the globe, in terms of how to filter, how to make sure that our children only get what we want them to see, and we keep away what they don't need to see. We have, I'm very careful here not to promote or not to talk about filters that are in the market. But what I want to say is this: filters work, and filters are very, very useful. However, children have learned ways to go about those filters. As I said, we are such a gated community today, especially in Nairobi, because your neighbor downstairs will not have any filters, and your neighbor's child will have given your child their password, and the other way around. So it becomes very, very difficult. Schools have managed to put very effective filters, and I think the best way to go about it is have a conversation with your service provider, or actually do your own research and find out, because they vary a lot. There are filters which are very effective and they are very pricey, but very, very good. There are other filters which work well for institutions rather than a family. And there are those other filters which, when you limit them to a family, then it simply means that anybody else coming into your home space can expose your children to the same very things that you're trying to prevent your children from. So I think what we need to do is very important. It's very important that you first find out the need of your children, the sites that you want to block, and then find out from your service provider. I had a big fight with my service provider because I told them, why can't I control from my phone what is going on with my router? Because I told them I should be able to switch it on and switch it off wherever I am from my mobile phone and control it. And I was told the only way I could do that was by changing the Wi-Fi password. And I said, no, I can't keep on doing that. So it's a conversation that we need to engage with service providers, but more so, let me say, there are so many filters out there. I don't want to mention any by name because I'm not allowed to do that, but it's easy for you to identify a filter that will work for your family. It's simply knowing what are the risks that my children are involved in, and then find a filter that can work for your family. I think I will leave it at that, because if I start mentioning different filters, then I think I will be going against the ethos of online communication, especially on wellness issues, because it's very good for a parent to identify what works for them and actually share amongst yourselves. Join that group that Steve has just talked about, whereby on that space, a parent can say, this is working for me, this is not working for me, because they vary in terms of the content, the individuals to be covered, and also the pricing.
Thank you for that. There's a question by Gitari on the chat box, and I read it as it is. My question is about the parts on the contact where you say, do not interact with someone you can't put a face to. What if someone shares a photo? Could that lead to catfishing that gives a child a false sense of security?
Thank you very much. Now, phishing is quite a serious issue, and it's good. When it comes to if you can't put a face to, this relates to children below the age of 17. An adult, legally, you can interact with whoever you want to. However, for child protection, for the safety of your child, and in this case, it's actually a way of empowering your child and helping your child safe from especially groomers. Because what groomers do when they go online is that they use fake identity. They can actually even fish an identity of someone that a child has related with before and actually use it to groom a child and expose that child to a lot of risk. So for children under 17 years old, for children who don't have IDs, who are not adults, the simple rule is if you cannot put a face to that person online, don't interact with that person. Engage a parent. Talk to your parents, talk to an adult, a teacher, before you engage with someone who you doubt and who you are sure that is not the face that I know, or you have a question mark on who that is. Once you've done that, you have saved your child, especially from sexual predators, sextortion, grooming that is taking foot in Kenya right now and really worrying a lot of parents. So it's a no-no for children to interact with someone they cannot put a face to.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There was also a question that should I sneak in silently to see what my children are watching online? And then immediately you answer that. I would suggest that Rhoda can ask the question so that you answer the two, Rhoda and Emma, so that you can just combine the three together. Yes, Rhoda, and then Emma.
Mine is a recent occurrence where I got my 11-year-old watching some pornographic material, and he says it was a pop-up. So I confiscated the phone. Now, where does one start helping this child? It's never happened before. When I checked the history, it has never, okay, it's not something that has happened. So please start, do we return the phone? Do we talk? Thank you.
Okay. All right, let me deal with the two questions. Number one, the first question, can I sneak to see what my child is doing online? These are the steps. Once you've sneaked in and you've seen what your child is doing online and you're very uncomfortable, do not confront your child there and then. Take note of what you have watched, return the gadget to the child or quietly, don't let the child know you have sneaked it, and then at the appropriate time or the same day, call your child, let your child sit next to you and have a conversation. And build that conversation towards what you saw online and discuss with your child. Do not start a fight because your child is going to shut down and will start, they are very clever. They will start hiding everything they do online. The fact that you sneaked in and saw what they were doing online, it means there's accessibility. You do not want to lose that ability to pick your child's phone. And that's why I say, any child in your house who is not 18 and they are in your house, under your roof, inside that home, no passwords. It means you can take that phone and see what is going on. So what I would say is, and it's very, very important, is that if you see you've sneaked in or you've taken the phone as a parent and just snooped through the phone, yes, there's a problem, then what you do is you activate a conversation with your child there and then. And through that activation, as long as there is a good home environment, you'll be able to support your child. The only thing you don't need to get to is destroy that trust and destroy that confidence that you can actually go to that phone and see what you saw. You want to keep that going and you want to keep that in place. The other question was an 11-year-old seeing pornographic pop-ups. That is where filters come in. And that is where we were talking about talking to your service provider or sharing with parents about filters that can stop most of these pop-ups. Pop-ups come up as a result of poor filtering systems, and I'm sure you can get a filter that fits your family, that's affordable, to stop up the pop-ups, and it's a very big problem, not just in families, but also in schools. Schools that cannot afford to put in proper filters, they end up in very embarrassing situation where a teacher is showing a video clip online to a class and something pops up right in front of the class. So it's something that schools need to invest in, but also families need to invest in to minimize the pop-ups. The other thing is pop-ups will come up when you're using the free services or the free online services. For example, if it is YouTube, if your family is on paid up YouTube, then you find that the risks of pop-ups and advertisements are zero. So you have a paid up YouTube service, that means you've eliminated those risks. So there's quite a lot of decision making that goes about filtering and managing what shows up online at family level and also at school level.
Thank you. Before I invite Emma, just also to share very quickly that parents be careful about sleepovers. From our experience in mentorship, a number of introduction to pornography happen during the sleepovers. So it's important that before you release your son or daughter to go for a sleepover, know very well who they are going to be with, which home, what kind of standards are there in that particular home. And also agree on the rules. It's important that you agree that if such and such a thing happen, these are the consequences and this is what I will do. Agree on those rules together before they finally go out for that sleepover. And let them know that you can always come for them at any time. Anytime you can always come for them as a parent. Another thing is also to be very careful about the many tuitions that we have around. You meet online and you find a number, I'm offering tuition or tutoring in mathematics, and then you engage your child before doing your background. In 2 instances recently, we have had cases where a teacher, quote unquote, who was doing a tuition online, introduced a boy to gayism. And so that's a live case that we are battling as we speak. The teacher is already arrested. So we are trying to get into the root of the matter, just helping the parent and the boy. And then there's also a case where a teacher in one of the schools in Nairobi, by just getting to the space of the child, oh, do you have a phone? Okay, can we exchange contacts? And before long, the boy was actually found, the boy was actually found taking nude photos by the mom. And on finding out, the boy was sending to the teacher. And the teacher is also arrested as we speak. Now, that one happened late last year, while these are the ones that I've just shared happened this year. Not to instill fear in parents, but just to invite us to a space where we are intentional parents. We actually do what we're supposed to do before we engage our children in anything, or we allow others to engage our children. Thank you. Emma, your hand has been up for some time.
Can I just add to what you've just said, Steve? Let me make it clear to all parents. It is illegal. It is illegal in Kenya for a teacher to invite a student at whatever level to their social media. It is illegal for a teacher to interact with a child or with a student on social media, especially at a personal level. It should never happen. So if your child has a personal email address to a teacher, that should not be happening. They should not have personal email addresses of teachers. Those teachers should come through you as a parent. Thank you.
Thank you
Well,
for that emphasis. Emma, go ahead.
it's okay. Thank you very much, Peter. I wanted to ask a question regarding about 2 or 3 years ago. My daughter was in middle school, and there's this game. It's called Roblox, and so one of the girls asked another girl. I think she ran out of. They're called Robux, something like that. It was a case that was brought to our attention in school, and I acted as a go between, because now this one girl used her mother's credit card to buy the Robux. I think they're called that. They're like the whatever the dollars amount, whatever they
Yeah,
use
they're
as
the
they buy
rewards.
those things.
Yes.
Yes, and it was over 5,000. So
Yes.
this mother was so angry, and they were the four of us, we know each other, and now
Yes.
the mother of the daughter of the one who did that told me, why don't parents train their kids how to behave online? And in my heart, I was asking myself, okay, it happened that among the four of us, I was the one who had an older child. No, because my daughter is a second born. So
Yeah.
I was wondering, as a child protection officer, how will this be handled? Because at some point threats were issued, and you see the other parent was like, it is not me who asked your child to buy for my child those Robux or whatever. And you see, it got a bit messy. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, the parents didn't talk to each other. So, I mean, the bad blood. And I was just wondering, as parents, are we aware of sometimes the risk we are exposing our kids to? Because I mean, I said that one. I mean, it can be redeemable somehow. But sometimes maybe they go to a site, maybe they even maybe I mean use our credit card credentials, maybe even to do something that may lead to a crime. And I mean, if you're not affected, you are probably affected. And so for me, I said, wow, it's a painful lesson for us as parents to be, let's keep talking, let's keep sensitizing our children. And thank you very much for that session. Asante.
Yes, thank you very much, Emma. Just going back to the online risks I talked about, the 4 C's. I talked about contact, I talked about content, I talked about conduct, and I also talked about commerce. Now, I have a problem with the parent whose card was used. What is your child doing with your credit card? What is your child doing with your debit card? To a point whereby your child can actually key in the 16 credentials and the 3 at the back. What is your child doing with that card? Now, this is what I learned. And that's why I want you, for children who are playing Roadblocks, they are playing all these games online where there are commerce activities like the Robux. When I sat down with my boys and they were doing all these games online, and I learned about they can actually buy stuff on those games. And I asked them, how do you buy the stuff? And they told me you can use a credit card. But they also told me that, Dad, if you go to Nairobi Sports House, you can actually buy the online cards where you can upload the code and you can actually pay for them. So, Emma, the parent who allowed her credit card to be used, I have a problem with that parent. Second, if we sat down with our children where there is commerce as a risk, then you need to make it very clear to your child, we are not doing any purchases. If any purchase is to be made, it will never be through credit cards or mobile money, universal access. If you need, and I feel you need to get Those currencies will go to Nairobi Sports House or anywhere where those cards are sold, and you're going to use that card specifically for that game. So it's a very common problem today. It's a very, very common problem today that falls under commerce, as I've just said, of the 4 C's, where children are getting scammed, where children are losing a lot of money and leading to the conflicts like what Emma has just shared. So I think when we sit down with our children, when they're doing those games and we see there's actually commercial activity in those games, we need to make it very clear to parents how those payments can be made, and you set the boundaries for them.
Thank you. There's another question there as we come to a close. What can one do in a scenario where a father watches pornography with his grade 4 learner?
Complete madness. It is child abuse. It is negligence. Those of us who know what child protection is, those of us who've been trained in protecting children, an adult, a parent, a grandparent who sits down and watches pornography, you can be sued for negligence. It is a crime. You are exposing your child to porn. You are the adult and you've consented. It is actually taken as doing the act with the child in the eyes of the law. So it is completely illegal, and that is a police case. It should not happen. And how a parent can actually do that with their children is beyond comprehension. It's pathetic that that can happen, especially in our African society. Who does that in our African community? Which adult sits down with a child to watch pornography? It is child abuse. It is totally unacceptable and a police case.
Thank you. But I would also emphasize and encourage the parent to pray. We, in the course of mentorship, we see a number of things happening, and by God's grace, the boy or the girl turns out to be well, despite the context. So God knows our brokenness and our broken world, and somehow He navigates with our children through those difficult moments that sometimes we may not intervene. So let's not lose hope, even in those very difficult contexts. Is there one last question? Then we bring this to a close. I know the questions are so many. Yes, Peter. Any last question? Okay. If there is no question, it's also important to remind parents that monkey see, monkey do. So we cannot tell our children that about screen time, and we are the same ones modeling what the opposite of what we say. So it's very important for us to remember that monkey see, monkey do. Once in a while, I interact with the teens in the course of mentorship, and they say, all right, my parents have no moral authority to tell me about time management with the gadgets because they're the culprits. And your teen has the audacity to tell you that because they have observed what you do. So let's remember that as well, so that we model what we tell our children. Bwana Peter, please, your last words, and then we close.
So dear parents, let me say this. It is not a lost battle. You are a great parent. I want you to understand that our children are growing in this era, in this generation, where everything is happening online. We cannot shut them out of that space, but we can walk with them. We can build resilience in them. We can equip them to be safe. The issues of online wellness is now a mandatory life skill. The way you made sure that your child can swim, because that is a life skill. The way you've taught your child to make breakfast, because that is a life skill. Online wellness is a life skill. Invest, even if it is half an hour every day, talking to your child, even if it is as a family on a Saturday afternoon or on a Sunday afternoon, having the conversation on online wellness, you are saving your child. You are equipping your child. You are giving your child a life skill. Online resilience is not a laughing matter anymore. It is a life skill for our children. So thank you for this evening. I'm humbled. I'm very happy to have met with all of you and the opportunity to talk to all of you. I'm a parent like you. I've gone through this. I've dealt with challenges just like you when my boys were very young, up to now where they are at. One is 17, the other one is 19. And let me tell you this, when they get to 16, 17, 18, there'll be another level of online challenges that they'll be dealing with. So start small. Don't be shy. Remember, you are the parent. You bought the gadgets. You pay for the Wi-Fi. You are the boss. So be the boss and take charge of what your children are doing online. God bless you and have a good evening. And thank you for the opportunity to just share with you and to talk to all of you. Asanteni sana. Steve, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I was praying the whole time. I said amen for all of us, and may God bless all of us. See you in our next webinar.
Thank
Bye
you so
bye,
much.
parents.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I've been praying for all of us. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Again, if we don't have your contact, you can leave it in the chat box with us. If you're already in the WhatsApp group, or if we sent you communication from Candid Hope number, then that means we have your contact, so you don't need to share again. And next time, invite more parents so that we can learn and benefit together.